Donald Trump's illegal and unjustifiable strike on Iran has now backfired in the most dangerous way possible. Our incompetent president clearly did not foresee the repercussions of this act, as Iran is now striking U.S. military bases in Qatar. We are getting new reports about this breaking news, all the while Donald Trump is focused on making insane posts on Truth Social. We are going to cover it all, but first, I want to see what Donald Trump's response has looked like in the past few hours as U.S. service members have their lives at risk because of his idiocy. Donald Trump most recently wrote on Truth Social that I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word nuclear and saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran. Did he really say that, or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. The N-word should not be treated so casually. I guess that's why Putin's the boss. By the way, if anyone thinks our hardware was great over the weekend, far and away the strongest and best equipment we have, 20 years advanced over the pack, is our nuclear submarines. They are the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built, and just launched the 30 Tomahawks. All 30 hit their mark perfectly. So, in addition to our great fighter pilots, thank you to the captain and crew. Donald Trump, also fearing the rising price of oil, wrote, "Everyone, keep oil prices down. I'm watching. You're playing right into the enemy's hands. Don't do it." He also continued his tirade by attacking Republican Thomas Massie as a bum who needs to get out of office. So while the lives of our service members are currently at risk, Donald Trump is throwing a meltdown on Truth Social that helps absolutely no one. He is freaking out over his own personal grievance, making insane claims, only escalating these tensions around the world right now, and he clearly doesn't care. The guy who promised us no new wars is getting us into one right now just with his idiocy. And it is no surprise, and I think no coincidence, that after Donald Trump last night started talking about regime change, we see this escalated response from Iran. And before we get into it, I just think it's so important to see how Carolyn Levitt responded to a question about Donald Trump publicly raising the idea of regime change in Iran.
When the president is floating the idea of regime change, how does he believe that should be accomplished? Through the Iranians, the Israelis, or the Americans?
The president's posture and our military posture has not changed. The president was just simply raising a question that I think many people around the world are asking. If the Iranian regime refuses to give up their nuclear program or engage in talks, we just took out their nuclear program on Saturday night, as you all know, but if they refuse to engage in diplomacy moving forward, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime? That's a question the president raised last night, but as far as our military posture, it hasn't changed.
Donald Trump thinks he can just throw out these threats as he pleases, pretend to be a tough guy, which he's clearly not. The man has a nickname, Taco Trump, for how quickly and consistently he folds, and yet he still pretends that he's some tough guy. I just don't get it at this point, especially as it puts us all in harm's way, and he clearly doesn't care, and we can see that with this shocking and disturbing reporting about strikes that are now being launched at U.S. military bases. Reporting from Axios, Iran confirms missile attack on U.S. military base in Qatar. Iran launched multiple missiles against American military bases in the Middle East on Monday in retaliation for the U.S. strike on its nuclear facilities this weekend. At least 10 missiles were launched towards Qatar, and at least one missile launched towards Iraq, according to an Israeli official. The latest, Iran's Supreme National Security Council released a statement confirming the attack on Qatar and claiming the number of missiles fired were equal to the number of bombs the U.S. used in the strike on Saturday. The base that was targeted in the attack by the powerful Iranian forces was far from urban facilities and residential areas in Qatar, the statement said. This action did not pose any threat to our friendly and brotherly country, Qatar, and its noble people. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps had earlier released a statement claiming it had launched a devastating and powerful missile attack against Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. This base is the headquarters of the Air Force and the largest strategic asset of the U.S. terrorist army in the West Asia region, the IRGC statement said. Iran will not leave any attack on its territory integrity, sovereignty, and national security unanswered under any circumstance, the statement stressed. The Foreign Ministry of Qatar issued a statement saying Qatari air defenses thwarted the attack and successfully intercepted the Iranian missiles, with no injuries or deaths reported. Qatar, which frequently acts as an intermediary for diplomatic talks in the region, strongly condemned the Iranian attack and called for a return to the negotiation table. The lengthy statement was published minutes after the attack and seemed to be prepared in advance. Why it matters. The scope of the Iranian retaliation, particularly the number of casualties, will determine how Donald Trump responds and whether the U.S. plunges deeper into Israel's war with Iran. Trump was meeting at the White House with his national security team, including Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the Joint Chiefs Chairman, as the Iranian attack unfolded. The president has warned that any retaliation will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed during the U.S. military attack against 3 Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend. Donald Trump is escalating a conflict that on the campaign trail he said he would not be getting us into in the first place, and his response to it is to attack Thomas Massie on Twitter for criticizing him. This is the most idiotic, unqualified, and dangerous administration that we have ever seen. This is the promises made, promises immediately broken administration, and it is putting us all in jeopardy. And someone who made that point so succinctly was Congressman Greg Kazar right here.
Start out by clearly saying, under the United States Constitution, the president cannot go to war without a vote of Congress and without the consent of the American people right here in North Texas. It is illegal for Donald Trump to drag us into another endless war. Congress must vote right now on a war powers resolution to make clear that no president can send us into another war in the Middle East. No new wars. No new wars. My entire adult life, politicians have promised quick and easy conflicts in the Middle East. And then year after year after year after year, they send other people's kids to fight and die in these endless conflicts. And like every other member of my generation, I know too many people who came home from the Middle East with devastating injuries, with PTSD, and with people who never came home. No more. Enough. Enough.
We learned that without authorization.
Fort Worth, Donald Trump promised peace and stability. He has no right to plunge us into another endless war. Donald Trump put a Fox News host in charge of the Pentagon. He has no right to put American lives at risk with his reckless approach. Donald Trump has fired thousands of people who care for our wounded veterans. He has no right to send more people into war who he will not care for when they come back. He has no right. No new wars. No new wars.
How did anyone believe that Donald Trump, who only ever works to serve himself and the billionaires and the well-connected individuals around him, would be focused on them and keeping us out of their wars? Donald Trump is making sure that he serves whatever interest is ultimately going to be serving him as well. And that is what we are seeing right now. Donald Trump thinks that he can boost his approval rating somehow, or I don't know who will be coming to his side to support him as he launches this idiotic war. But all that we know in this moment is that we are all in danger because we have people surrounded by Donald Trump who either don't know what they're doing, do and are too afraid to say it, or just like kissing his ass. And those are the people making the most important decisions about our safety as this conflict continues to escalate. It's terrifying. Only if someone could have seen this coming. Well, someone could. Kamala Harris did.
He took unilateral action to withdraw us from the Iran nuclear deal. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Some people thought it should be stronger than it was, but it was very well negotiated, and people were complying with it. And he pulls us out of it based on unilateral action, frankly, from my perspective, born out of his fragile ego. And everything that we have seen happen since was predictable to one extent or another. Iran poses a real threat to the United States based on its nuclear capabilities. And the negotiation of the JCPOA and that Iran nuclear deal was a smart way to put a cap on that in terms of escalating the threat. And now we look, and then apparently he's tweeting out, this bravado about, lock and loaded. What does that mean? Okay, and also...
Well, it's an implicit military threat that the
yes,
U.S. is going to use. We're going to use U.S. force.
Yes, it is. And again, listen, as far as I'm concerned, this president is motivated by his personal insecurities more than he is our national security. And so what we're looking at is, again, a threat that might be taken seriously. And I would dare to say that that threat was issued without serious consultation with our allies, with our military leaders, with our diplomatic leaders. What are our alternatives? Let's also be clear, if this president is thinking about putting us in a position where we're in a war with Iran, the consequences will be absolutely unacceptable and tragic in terms of the young men and women who are American soldiers who would be sent and deployed into something that was completely avoidable.
How did we elect this guy again? Again, a second time. MAGA really fell for it. They really fell for it, didn't they? It's just, you just can't believe it sometimes. I don't even know what to say, but we're going to be continuing to cover it all. And if you want to support the work we're doing so to bring you the quickest updates possible, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already, my Substack will be linked as the top comment. Please go subscribe. The support really means a lot. Until next time, I'll see you soon.